All right, good afternoon. Yeah, I think, just first of all, proud of our guys, our staff, and our whole organization and our players for going on the road to Big 12 and getting our first win of the season in this conference. So, and I had to overcome a lot in doing it. I think, on the road, number one, sellout crowd, a lot of adversity throughout the game, and they stayed poised, and they continued to play and ended up making enough plays to go get the win. So proud of that. But really looking forward to this week. Really looking forward to hosting Iowa State, an outstanding football team that's ranked, undefeated. And we're going to be playing in front of a sold-out stadium here at Nippert. Very excited about that. I know our students are going to be off the chain in that end zone over there, and then everybody else is going to be loud. We're striping it out, red and black. We've got the most recruits that we've ever had coming to a game since we've been here. High-rated recruits, committed recruits. It's going to be outstanding. So we can't wait for Saturday at noon to kick this thing off against a really good football team. And, a little bit about Iowa State. I mean, Coach Campbell I've known for a long time. I think he's one of the best coaches in the country. And his teams are always good. They're always ready to play. They're always coached well in all three phases. Defensively outstanding, one of the best defenses year in and year out in the country. They got a quarterback that started over 30 football games that's outstanding. He's a winner. He makes things go for him on offense, and obviously a great challenge for us, but we're looking forward to it.
Chad?
Real quick back to the Kansas
Yeah.
game. The 4th and 1 early from your own 34, was that sending a message to your team as much as anything that we're going to be aggressive and we understand it's going to take some points to win this game and we're going to go get them?
Yeah, we want to be aggressive anyway, and I think, going into that game, we knew Kansas offense was outstanding. That Jalen Daniels is a great player. They're going to score points, and so you have to think it'd be aggressive. And I think, when it's 4th and 1, as a matter of fact, I'm watching the Iowa State game from last year. We did it on our first drive last year as well, about very similar, 4th and 1 with minus 30-something. So you have to, I think when you're playing teams that are really good, especially on the road, you got to be aggressive in your thinking. And, we felt good about the play and to be able to get those yards. And, and I think in this league, I think you have to be aggressive. I really do. I just think there's so many good offenses, so many good players that, if you think you got a chance to get the first down, let's go ahead and get it.
Saw Dante downstairs. His appetite looked fine. Any update on him?
No, I think he's still questionable, but I do think he's trending in the right direction. I think he was close last week. I really thought he might have an opportunity last week. So, but we'll see how this week goes with him, and but I do think he's very close to being able to play this week.
Any update on Joe?
Yeah, Joe's good. He'll be ready to go. Yeah, he'll practice today and be ready to go. I think pretty much. I think probably the big question mark is going to be Dante, but I think everybody else will be practicing today and be ready to roll.
In a unique situation, like you're going up against the same defense that you run, do you just run practice like normal, like you would in early fall camp, or are there parts of Iowa State's defense that you have to kind of isolate?
Yeah, I think theoretically we're the same, but there's a lot of differences in things that we're doing, and I think. Even Iowa State, go back the last 3 years that we've played them, depending on their personnel, they do some different things. Obviously, you want to do what your kids do well. So there's going to be some little tweaks and some little nuances that'll be different. But for us, it's a normal week. We try to go good on good anyway. Like on Tuesday and Wednesdays, we're going to go, a bunch of different plays, good on good. So we're going to see that anyway because we want to get speed on speed. But yeah, I think more than anything, probably is what we take away. Having gone against our defense in the spring and in August camp, you feel a little bit more comfortable, when they're playing their base defense. Other than that, though, you got to see what they're playing and then react off of it.
Brendan had a rough game against Iowa State last year. How much do you go back and look at that tape and try to figure it out, or is it difficult because you just got entirely new group of weapons around him? How much attention do you pay to that?
He did a rush for 141 yards last week.
He did.
That's pretty good.
He threw for 60.
No, but he ran for 141. Let's look at the positives, Chad. We did not throw the ball great last year. And I thought, to last year's Iowa State team where they gave up some running yards, and I feel like we try to take advantage of that. They did a really good job in the pass game. I think this year they're a little bit more balanced in their defense approach. It's not just one side. I thought last year maybe they gave up the run and they were really good in the pass defense. This year I think it's a little bit of both. I still think they're a very solid defense. We're going to need to be able to hit some throws. We're going to have to be able to do that. There's no question. That really hindered us last year, not being able to hit some of those throws in the game. And I think you got to be able to do both, obviously. But again, we're a new team. This is a different bunch. They're a different bunch. Like their secondary is like they're all new compared to last year. Our wide receivers are all new. It's really two totally different teams when you think about it in that regard. They do have some linebackers back, some D-line back. We got some rural line back, that kind of thing. But I think as far as the skill guys go, the back end and the receiver room, they're different. And so there'll be a different kind of game plan, I think, probably for us and them as you go into this game.
Like the offense has looked night and day since the Nebraska game. Is this kind of how you picture this offense looking in the spring and the fall? How you showed it against Kansas?
Yeah, I think so. We got a lot of playmakers, and we got to figure out ways to get them the ball. And I think, as you go back and look, I think 9 different guys caught balls Saturday. I think Tyree and Pryor, were our 2 running backs, and kind of rotated both of those guys. They're making plays. And at tight end, I thought Gavin came in and did a great job. Had a couple big catches when Royer went out. I just think we got some good weapons that we got to distribute the football to all these weapons. And I think that's the one thing the last 3 weeks we've done a good job with that. And that's hopefully, obviously what you want to continue to be able to do throughout the rest of the year.
Can you explain the end of the first half and how you're able to run for, I think, 50 yards and get into field goal range so easily? Because the second one, the long one, looked like a layup and almost like it should have been impossible for you to do that.
Yeah, and that was coming off the punt return. It got called back. It was frustrating, and we got backed up. We had one timeout, and basically what we were thinking, let's try to spread them out, hand the ball off, see if we pop one. And we got a few yards on the first one. We ended up calling a timeout, and then the next one ended up popping. I think what happened on that was the safeties were a little bit deeper than normally that they would be. And then Pryor was able to get through, and then the safety was late, trying to respond up, and he was able to pop the big one. That was huge for us because to be able to go get points right before half, because we're up 4, go get 3 right there. Now you're up 7, and then they came out and went and scored. But they tied it up, and they didn't take the lead. So that's a huge difference, I think, in the game to be able to go get those points. And we did it with running the football, and then also at the end of the game we did it too. When Tyree popped the 17-yarder to get down to the 2. I think that was huge as well. So I think really and truly what you're trying to do there in those scenarios is if you can and you have time, if they are a little bit softer, you want to be able to do that. We feel confident prior to Tyree to be able to get chunk yards, especially if you have a timeout, because we had a timeout at the end of the game and then we had one right there. And if we pop it, then you got a good chance. So that was a huge play.
Beck doesn't throw many interceptions. How beneficial would it be to have one, because you guys haven't had any yet?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, Scott. Yeah, we would love for him to throw us one. That'd be awesome. Yeah, we have not gotten any interceptions, and that's certainly something that we want to get. We want to create more turnovers. I really appreciate Peak. Peak got another one, man. He's got, I think, 6 forced fumbles in the last year and a half. So I appreciate him creating some turnovers for us. So love for some other guys to step up and get some turnovers, and I think, we just got to continue to keep playing, and obviously each of the players that are out there have to do their job in order for that to happen. So you got to get pressure on a quarterback. You hope he throws into coverage or has to throw early. To me, that's how you get some interceptions, and I think we just have to keep doing those type things to put pressure on the quarterback.
I know the system is going to give up some yards, but how much do you have to go back and look at it? Maybe the completion percentage and some of the free release throws that these guys are making, because it looks like teams are finding the free release and hitting it pretty quick.
Yeah, I agree. It's anybody that's watched this sees that. Obviously, our opponents see it. We got to tighten up coverage. There's certain times, obviously, that you're going to be a little looser and softer, but there's other times where you got to tighten it up. And you have to match, guys. I think, and you got to mix it up too. You just can't sit in the same defense. You have to mix it up, and you have to match coverages. And You have to be aware of where the receivers are. All those things we got to get better at. There's no question. But then also, we have to align properly. We have to, have great eye control. Maybe I think you asked it last week, in the first play. Bad eyes and the guy goes right down the sideline. I mean, so we have to have better eye control. Like, all those things we got to get much, much better in order to help our pass defense, because that's where we're deficient. I think the run defense has been very solid. It's the pass defense where we got to get better.
Rocco Beck gets the label of game manager, but he's also a guy that will throw the ball down the field and then push it deep on you. Like, if he's a game manager, he's at the high end of game manager. Do you have to tell your guys, like, don't get caught up in this notion that he's all dink and dunk, because they will hit 40, 45.
Yeah, I mean, going back, we don't have to tell our guys. I mean, they hit some plays on us last year. They do a great job of scheming you up, and you think you got it stopped, and there's a guy running free wide open. He's certainly going to hit him. I think he's so much more than a game manager. I mean, he's number one, he's a winner. And how are you a winner? Because you're able to make plays. And he's got huge plays on third downs, on fourth downs. The play action game, because they like to get the ball, run the football. That play action game is strong. That's some really outstanding tight ends, that are long and they're hard to defend. But I think Rocco's a heck of a football player. He's like a coach on the field for them as well. And then now the experience that he has with the many starts as he's had, he's seen everything out there, and he's not going to be fazed or rattled by what you're throwing at him.
It seemed like there were multiple plays throughout the entirety of the game where whether it was a third down goes bad, you just go for it on fourth, or Kansas hits 2 70-plus yards touchdowns, that teams in the past for you would kind of go in their hole and not give up, but it would hurt them a lot. What does it say about this team's will and attitude that they just kept on responding in those situations?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is Brendan. Brendan, what we went through last year, and we've been in these scenarios before, and I think a lot of our guys, the ones that were a part of it, Gavin, Gerhardt and Brendan and these guys that have been a part of that, they scar down, man, and you learn from them. And I just felt like our guys had so much more poise. Like, if something didn't go our way, or hey, they just went and scored, that's fine, let's go, we're rolling. And that's what you could see. There's a calm about our guys. And I think a part of that is experience, and part of that is belief. And I think what we've created, this off season in August and then throughout this season so far, is the belief that we can go get it done, no matter what's thrown at us. And I was glad we were able to do that. And our guys had to make plays. We've been in this scenario many times before the last few years, and we were just one play short, and we were able to make those plays this time. Noah Jennings on 4th and 10. I mean, what an unbelievable play. But if he doesn't make that catch, we lose. As good as Brendan played and all that, we still lose. And but you have to make those plays in order to go win. Somebody does. And Pete knocking that ball out, Noah making that catch. Those are big time plays. That's how you win these type of games.
A year ago, you had switched kickers. Are you a little bit more relaxed now when 99 goes out there and then Fletch is banging 50-plus yard punts? Yeah, I mean, the teams played excellent Saturday. We had, 3 punts over 50 yards, no return. Excellent job of flipping the field. That is huge. And then knocking down some field goals, man. The last couple of years before half, we're right there knocking field goal down. We hadn't made them. We've missed them. I think Texas Tech last year. I think Pitt last year. Those are a difference in the games and winning those games, and this year we knocked it down. And of course, we got the outcome we wanted. So, glad Steven's here and glad he's continuing to kick well.
Does a part of you feel like you stole a game knowing you didn't have Dante?
No, I don't think stole a game. I think, our guys went out and played, and, we ended up getting the win. Obviously, you love to have Dante, obviously, and I think, he's a big part of our defense, and but I was proud of him on Saturday too, because he was right there on that sideline, being a great leader. He was pulling everybody together, and you could see that and feel his energy on the sideline was awesome. And hopefully he'll be able to get back in there this week.
It looked like Jalen and Micah played pretty good, especially in some key scenarios. What did you see from them?
Yeah, no, I think Jalen Hunt's a guy that we thought could really kind of fill that void with Dante left right there to be able to play at the nose, but also play on the edge, and then Micah as well. But I do think Jalen, obviously to me was the key to be able to have him, back this year to be able to play in that scenario. That we needed him, and I thought he did some good things, putting pressure on the quarterback, making him get off his spot a few times, and you know, I think he'll continue to play well and get Dante back. Now you get both of them out there. It's just it's hard, obviously, for their offense.
On the second long touchdown, it looked like Tatum was where he was kind of supposed to be, but then reacted
To the ball.
to the ball being thrown behind. The receiver makes the catch. Now, what do you say to him on that? Because he's trying to make a play on the ball, but ultimately that resulted in a long touchdown.
That's right. Yeah, you know, as a tough play. I mean, you know, for him, it was a lot of space out there. You know, he's trying to stay over top. Well, then he's looking as the ball's coming and the ball's thrown behind, so he's kind of stepping here to maybe try to get it. Thought their kid made an outstanding play. You know, to reach back, he's running full speed to reach back, make the catch, stay on his feet. You know, and then Tatum gets turned around. Well, by then, I mean, it's going to be over. You know, I think just the only thing you can say right there is to try to tighten up the coverage to where, you know, you're a little bit more body on body. Now it's going to be more difficult for that guy to have to reach back and make that catch. You know, he's given some ground because of how fast that kid was. The kid's a good player, and you know, we didn't help ourselves. I mean, on some situations there, you love to have an extra safety that's going to be back there to help that actual play. And then, of course, he had the first play, the 93-yarder as well. So, I mean, the week before that, he had a 95-yard kickoff return. I mean, he's a really good player, but we just got to learn from it and obviously try to get better so that doesn't happen again.
He had a pretty graceful pirouette.
Yeah, I know. You like to knock that ball down, though, for sure.
Iowa State's played in some different environments. How important is it going to be for the Nippert Stadium fans to you know, make it a little uncomfortable?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, you know, whenever we go on the road in the Big 12, and you get like last year, we went to Iowa State, went to Kansas State, went to Colorado, you know, those stadiums just stand out to me because they were packed, they were sold out. They affect your offense, you know. Arrowhead this year, I mean, they affect what you do offensively, and you know, we have to create that same environment here at Nippert. I mean, you know, this stadium is awesome. It's loud down there, you know, in that bowl. So when our crowd gets into it, when it's third down for Iowa State, like they got to be going crazy, you know, to try to throw them off of their rhythm and their cadence that they're trying to do on offense. That is a definite advantage for us, and that certainly will feed off of that.
Any other questions? Scott?
Yeah, just real quick, have you embraced being the matinee idols that play at noon?
Whatever time they tell us to play, our boys are going to be ready to play. You know, we have no control over, you know, when TV says we're going to play. You know, so I know obviously the fans would love to have a night game here. Maybe at some point we will, you know, but whatever time they tell us to play, we need that place packed, loud, rowdy, be ready to go so we can get a big win.
Thanks,
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks, Coach.